It's been a bit, so if you've forgotten the rules to this challenge, or you just haven't seen the first two videos, here's a breakdown. 1. No fighting or using damage-dealing magic of any kind. 2. No sparing enemies. 3. Use pacify on as many enemies as possible. Encounters that end automatically for any reason are fine, even if they show the spare animation. We're also trying to get as many recruits as possible, and tracking the minimum spares to get all recruits alongside the absolute minimum to complete the chapter. I have a scoreboard I was using to track my performance that measured the spared enemies against the pacified enemies, and that was sort of the central narrative of the last two videos. But I don't think we'll need it that much this time around because we did it. I'm not going to dance around it. In Chapter 3, this challenge is legitimately just possible to complete. There are a couple of big asterisks on that statement that we'll get to, but yeah, you can beat Chapter 3 without sparing or fighting any enemies. Since Chapter 3 is a lot more recent than Chapters 1 and 2 were, I won't be doing a full recap of the entire run. I'll mostly just focus on each individual Darkner and how they're dealt with. So our journey starts at Tenna's Desert Board, with our first encounter, Shadow Guy. Initially, Shadow Guy is very scary because it's the first and most common enemy in the chapter, and none of the main acts can tire it. But luckily, as a new addition in Chapters 3 and 4, party actions now have the ability to make enemies tired. Both S action and R action cause a character to dance with a Shadow Guy, which tires it. Blasting through the rest of the board with absolutely no trouble because I'm great at Deltarune, we get to the only other encounter in the desert board, which is your standard, automatically ending mini-boss. Of course, I handle this easily. And it's as easy as that. And move on to the physical challenge, which also doesn't pose any threat. After that, we take a quick breather in the green room to enjoy our various rewards we move on to the next exciting board as soon as possible. Here we get our second real encounter, Pippins, who can be tired using the cheat action, at great cost. Other than the Pippins, there's nothing else of note here, except for a mini-boss of Shudda, but since they're a mini-boss, their encounter ends automatically. And since I'm an epic rhythm gamer, this physical challenge will actually go well. Okay, I'm done with this. Let's just go. This Zapper can be pacified pretty easily with the mute command for a chunk of TP, so they aren't really a problem and we can just get past. Anyways, after getting caught by Tenna, we have the encounters during his breakdown sequence, which I guess count as a couple of mandatory neutral encounters. Now that we're out of the board segments, we can get into the real meat of the chapter, not encountering enemies. Okay, this is actually one of the only encounters in this chapter you have to dodge. These seemingly innocuous Shadow Guys spawn alongside a Shudda. This normally wouldn't be a problem because Shadow Guys can be pacified, but the new party actions that make enemies tired don't make all enemies tired. I know this is weird coming from me, but I think that's a pretty fair nerf to pacifying strategies, because some of the skips you could do in Chapter 2 by using a single action to make every enemy sparable was crazy. Point being, we're dodging this encounter and tabling Shudda for later. Moving into the Toby Fox signature trash area, we have a couple of Ribic encounters. I initially thought we had to deal with these neutrally, but it turns out specifically R action will make Rouse clean a Ribic and tire it. I wouldn't blame you if you didn't know this, because having a Rouse specific tire option is a bit suboptimal. We then head right to oh no. And, this is just really bad. What am I gonna... Oh. Yeah. So, this is the big asterisk for Chapter 3. There is technically one enemy that you cannot recruit in this challenge. That's right. The jokes about Water Cooler being the scariest boss in Deltarune might be all fun and games for you, but it's genuinely the case for this challenge. So yes, the all recruits version of the pacify run in this chapter includes one spare. But the all recruits version isn't the main focus of these videos, so my thumbnail is still accurate. However, the silver lining is that Water Cooler is the last regular enemy in Chapter 3. All we need to do from here is finish recruiting zappers and deal with Shada. And we deal with both right outside this area where... Give it a second. Where the two are encountered together, so Shada falls to the classic Hathy Gambit. From here we have Rules card. Be pretty hard to mess that one up. And then I get Mandela affected by this puzzle. Was this always here? And we're on to the final boss, which doesn't have anything to note. Yeah, not gonna lie, I remember this chapter being like a lot longer for some reason. Is there something I missed? Oh, right. You might have noticed that I haven't been showing any of the sword route in this run, and that isn't just because I didn't want to litigate if this counts as fighting. It doesn't. It was because the whole route is completely unnecessary, seeing as the night fight is impossible. The only way to progress this fight is by attacking, which we're strictly banned from doing. That's the other big asterisk on this run. You can't get the Shadow Crystal. I never included fighting the secret bosses as one of the goals of this challenge, but seeing as how the first two were either trivial or actively beneficial to get, I was really hoping that the pattern would continue into Chapter 3. Unfortunately though, this run does have to end with me dying to the knight. But hold on a second. I can see that hit counter in the corner. I know you've been watching me get my ass kicked on every single fight. No meals washed, you're all saying. Did you really think I would end this run going out like a chump? That's right, I survived 12 turns without the Shadow Mantle or healing, and I no-hit 5 of them.
Who do you think you are? I am!
Okay, that might not be like objectively impressive, but I needed to prove that I am not complete ass at Deltarune. So that's Chapter 3, and as promised we managed to recruit 7 out of 8 possible Darkners, which includes pacifying 5 out of 6 regular enemies. The remaining bosses and mini-bosses were all dealt with neutrally, giving us a grand total of 0 spares for the any percent, and exactly 1 spare to get all recruits. Oh, also I got the egg. Didn't really have a good place to put that in, but I did it. And now that I'm actually recording this after the release of the last video, I can thank everybody who watched and left a nice comment on the previous parts of this challenge. I want to especially mention Starred Feather, who did his own similar challenge runs that focus on neutral encounters and ban pacifying. And in that same vein, the YouTuber Spark recently did a video on the minimum number of turns needed to beat chapters 1 through 4. This run isn't really related to the pacify challenge, but it allows glitches and has some pretty good explanations on how you can use them to skip fights that were big problems in this challenge. Until next time.